Hello and welcome to the 2021 Rend Lake College Career Connections Fair. My name is Josh Davies, and today I want to help you prepare for your future. We're going to be talking about 2020 and how it can be foresight for you and not just hindsight. Now, before we go any further, you're probably wondering, who is this guy? Well, again, my name is Josh Davies. I'm the CEO of an organization called the Center for Work Ethic Development. We're not a household name like an Amazon or a Coke, but what we are is an organization committed to helping people get employment, regardless of whether or not that's getting a job tomorrow, 2 years from now, or 10 years from now. We work with organizations all around the country, colleges, high schools, middle schools, nonprofit groups, anyone and everyone who's preparing people for the future of work. And so we want to help you prepare for your future of work as well. And in order to do this, we're going to need to take a trip back in time. So come with me, and we're going to step into our time machine, and we're going to go all the way back to January 1st, 2020. I think you probably remember that morning, right? It's a brand new day, a new year, a new decade. There was so much ahead of us. There were so many great things that were possible. And then the virus hit, right? And it shut everything down. People went crazy, right? We stockpiled toilet paper, right? Things were out of control. And one of the places that really got hit were a lot of our businesses. We saw unemployment numbers surge all around the country. And in Illinois in particular, we had significantly higher unemployment rates than the rest of the country. And if you want to look even more specifically, there's certain areas, sure, the Chicagoland area had high unemployment, but so did we right here in Jefferson and Franklin counties, right? We had some of the highest unemployment rates in the state as a result of everything. It's going to be difficult. We need to make sure that we're well prepared for the future, because in addition to all the other virus things that happened this past year, don't forget, we had murder hornets. Right? This year has been crazy. It's been absolutely, well, some people would say unprecedented. But what actually I want to show you is that 2020 is not unprecedented. What it is simply exposing some current trends that we already knew were there. Sure, if there's something that's unprecedented, it was the Google searches for unprecedented. We saw those go through the roof, right? But the reality is, when we take a look at what's happened, it's really more like this doofus who's taking gasoline and pouring it onto an existing fire. And not too surprisingly, it blows up on him, right? This is what's happened. We accelerated some things that were already happening all over the country. One of these is this idea of the future of work, that automation and artificial intelligence are going to change the way we work and are going to change the jobs of the future. Another trend that we've seen is this growing connection, right? The World Wide Web, the cloud, everything we have to get more and more connected all over the world. And the third thing we see happening is this growing chasm between the haves and the have-nots. And that's really also impacting every aspect of our life. Now, all three of these things were happening before 2020, but 2020 and everything that happened in it have just sped these trends up. And that's going to impact you as you look at what career you want to have in the future. So let's take a look at three trends that we see happening, three impacts, if you will, as we go into the future. Number one, there's going to be a permanent elimination of some jobs, and we need to be aware of that. There's also going to be something we call the gigafying of employment. And then finally, we're going to see that the big are going to continue to get bigger and bigger. So let's start with number one, the permanent elimination of jobs. We talked about all the unemployment that happened across America, but it wasn't distributed equally. When you look at the unemployment, it happened to be really a few sectors in particular that got really hard hit. Food and drink, retail, travel, tourism, support. All these places, all of these jobs are being hit hard. And unfortunately, those are a lot of entry-level positions, a lot of the places that we may get our first jobs in. And the real problem is those jobs are not just going away. More often than not, they're not coming back. 42% of all the jobs lost are estimated to probably be permanently gone. And in fact, this is speeding up technology and the elimination of certain careers. Now, we don't know exactly what the future has in store, but we do have a good estimation that there are certain careers that are just going to stop being, because people just aren't going to need to do them because computers will do all that work. Number one on that list, telemarketers. That's pretty awesome. But also accountants, auditors, retail, technical sales writers. We have to be aware that some jobs are going to be permanently eliminated. And when we look at our careers, we have to decide what we want to do based on what might be there in the future. The second thing we need to be aware of is that there's going to be what we call the gigafying of employment. Fewer and fewer people are going to be working for one place or one company. And this is a trend that's been happening for a while. But what we've seen, right, when people are getting hired back from companies, almost a third of them aren't going to be hired back permanently. They're going to be in some sort of temporary position where maybe they can work from home, but they're not going to be working for a particular company, maybe just on a contract or for a job. Right. And we saw this happening because people could work from home, right? This whole idea that people more and more, just like we had to go to school oftentimes, virtually, we could work virtually. And what happened then is these jobs went virtual. And the problem is not every job goes virtual. And this is really an important lesson for you. If you want to be able to be a part of this new economy, you'll notice you need to have some sort of post-secondary education. You need to get something outside of high school, maybe a 2-year degree, a 4-year degree. Because if you just have a high school diploma or don't even finish high school, your chances of being able to work remotely are almost 10 to 20%, very, very low. And so we need to be aware of that, because what's going to happen is more and more jobs are going to be gigafied. They're going to be things like DoorDash or Uber. And what we need to realize is that if we want to be a part of that, we need to make sure from a professional standpoint that we get an education, because more and more jobs will be available that way. If not, you're going to have fewer and fewer opportunities in the future. The third thing that we see happening is that the big are going to continue to get bigger in America. Now, you may go to the store and think that we have so many choices and so many things to buy. There's really, there's no worry about competition. But when you look at it, across America, pretty much every single product you got in the store is actually one of 10 mega brands. It's either owned by Coke or Pepsi or General Mills or Kellogg's or Mars or Unilever, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, Nestle or Kraft. They basically control everything. Yeah, that's right. The same company that makes Joy detergent also makes Pringles. Yeah, these companies control everything. And more, we're going to see 3 big companies starting to control every part of what we do, driven again by what happened this past year. Online retailers like Amazon, and then stores that can do both like Walmart, and a company out of China called Alibaba are just going to get bigger and bigger. In fact, Amazon, its stock price rose over 75% last year. That's crazy. You find them doing crazier things like buying more and more places like Amazon, the online store, right? It bought the grocery store Whole Foods. What's going to happen is these big companies are going to get bigger and bigger, and they're going to have more and more control. And it's going to be fewer and fewer opportunities for us as we look at where we want to work in the future. Well, holy crap, I don't know about you, but I'm thinking to myself, there's going to be fewer jobs. Nobody's going to be working for one place, and they're all going to be working for one of these 3 companies. I'm thinking to myself, that future looks scary. I don't know what to do. But rather than get scared and freak out like this dude, let's put on our 2020 glasses and use it for foresight and see what 2020 taught us that we can use to get prepared for our careers in the future. Specifically, let's look at 3 things that we know will prepare you for the future. Number 1, you need to stop repeating repetitive reiterations. What do I mean? It doesn't matter what type of field you're looking to go into. If it's a job that can be easily repeated, it's probably going to be replaced. So when you look at what career you're looking to go into, know that they're not all created equally. Look at jobs like health and social assistance. You can see that bar is really big, a lot of growth, and it's almost all goldenrod and red, meaning those are non-repetitive tasks. They're going to be around for a while. On the other hand, things like construction, sure, there's some growth right now, but that's almost all purple and blue. That means those jobs are going to be automated and robots are going to be doing them. So think about what career you want to do that's going to be non-repetitive, doing different things, because those jobs will be around. The next thing you want to keep in mind is you want to be able to do what a robot can't do. Think of the skills, think of the things you need to know that can't be replaced by a robot. Specifically, if you want to really get into the 2 things that will separate you and make you most valuable in the future, the 2 skills to develop are critical thinking and problem solving. Those are going to be the most in-demand skills, the hardest hire, and are going to separate you. Figure out how you can develop those, as well as oral communication, teamwork, the ability to work with others, and organization, because those are the skills that are truly going to set you apart, because those are things that robots won't be able to do. And that'll help you no matter what career you go into. Finally, what we really want to think about are not just degrees and certifications. Those are important. Those will get you the job. But what you also need to focus on are the skills, and the soft skills and the people skills that will help you not just get a job, but keep it. It's estimated that 85% of your success in this world is going to be about those skills, your people skills, your soft skills, your ability to work with others. That 15% at the top is still critical. You have to get those degrees. You have to graduate from high school, no matter what career you're going into. But remember, it's not the only thing. We have to develop those other skills as well. So when we look at the future, we don't know what it has in store. It's going to be different. But we do know that if we stop repeating repetitive reiterations, you do what a robot can't do, and you develop skills and degrees, you're going to be unstoppable. Because at the end of the day, remember, 2020 was unprecedented in so many ways, but it shouldn't be something that should scare us. Instead, 2020 should give us the foresight to help you be successful in the career of the future.